Welcome back to DCS Debrief. Start this video on solving offensive BFM problems with a standard disclaimer. I'm not a fighter pilot. These presentations are not authoritative. They're information gleaned from my own experience in real aviation where it's relevant, directly referenced official but open source literature, and anecdotal information with former fighter pilots who I happen to know. It's presented for critique and to add to the overall body of information on the topic of air combat and simulation games like DCS, and like many tactics, techniques and procedures, application differs in key areas between the game and real life, and as such these presentations are only relevant to the game. I hope you enjoy it. Let's get started. So now you know the fundamentals and terminology of offensive BFM, and hopefully you've had an opportunity to practice some of the basic techniques involved in staying behind a bandit. You've also hopefully started to use the gun sight tracking exercise to improve your gunshot technique, which will increase your first shot kill potential, at least with the gun. Now we'll start to bring everything together so that you have a tool set that you can use to win from an offensive situation. As previously stated, if the fighter flies perfect BFM, then there's little the bandit can do, but nobody's perfect, and of course the bandit is going to try and force errors by creating BFM problems. This video will look at a few common ones and methods to solve them. The aim of this video is to identify common BFM problems and errors and demonstrate what the fighter can do to solve them. By the end of this video, you'll understand how a defensive bandit will try to create BFM problems for you. You'll be able to recognize these problems as they're generated, and you'll be able to understand the methods available to solve these problems. This video will deal solely with explaining the problems and outlining the steps a fighter can take to try and solve them. The method of practicing these techniques and the associated setups will be covered later in the video on offensive BFM practice. Unfortunately, the only way to really practice these techniques is to get online with a friend or someone prepared to teach you and practice. An AI opponent is just not going to give you the problems that a real opponent will present. A competent bandit will always try to exploit their strengths and your weaknesses to generate a problem that best suits them. That said, some problems come about as a result of circumstance. BFM problems fit broadly into two categories: being unable to generate lead pursuit necessary for a firing solution, be that missiles or the gun, and overshooting. Flying out in front of the bandit is by far the worst of these options, because even if you can't generate lead, you are still at least behind the bandit, so we'll save overshooting until last and first deal with being trapped in lag. The trapped in lag offensive BFM problem is one that you might well experience purely as a result of the bandit flying a well executed break turn, or simply being a fighter that's better suited to a rate fight. Ideally, after your attack window entry, you'll be able to reel the bandit forward in the canopy until an energy excursion will give you a shot opportunity, with either the gun or a heat-seeking missile. If you're so far back though that an excursion will either bleed your turn rate without giving you a shot opportunity, or severely jeopardise follow-on BFM, then you're trapped in lag. It's important to recognise this early so that you don't waste energy with fruitless excursions allowing the bandit to gain an advantage. Let's look at the causes. There are several causes of being trapped in lag, some of which you may have influence over, and some of which may just be a result of the situation. If the bandit was able to enter their break with a greater energy than you could achieve at your turn circle entry, then their initial rate will have been higher and they will have gained angles. The same is true if you started further outside the bandit's turn circle, as they will have been able to gain angles as you accelerated towards the attack window. These factors will be exacerbated if your turn circle is closely aligned with the bandits, as you will gain no benefit from misaligned turn circles. More on this in a moment. You have little means of controlling these factors other than flying your best attack window entry, but once established in the turn, there are things that you can do to resolve the situation. Recognition. The symptom of being trapped in lag is being at the bottom of the rate band with the bandit at high angle off nose. You may also have closely aligned turn circle, in which case there will be little fore-aft movement of the bandit in the canopy. Resolutions. As already discussed, an energy excursion won't work here, as it will ultimately reduce rate, so you will need to do something else to enable you to point your nose at the bandit. In most cases you will need to turn to physics, but there are a few circumstances where geometry can solve the problem. We'll look at this first. So let's look at using misalignment of turn circles to help to generate part of a solution. Given that the problems you're experiencing may be exacerbated by closely aligned turn circles, it might be possible to misalign them deliberately by momentarily unloading and then resuming best turn rate. This will give away angles to the bandit, so you must be sure that both this is the cause of your problem and that it will give you an advantage further around the turn. However, if turn circles are already misaligned, or if you already have a significant angular disadvantage, then misaligning is likely to give away more angles than you'll be able to recover. Therefore, If the bandit is moving fore aft in the canopy, or if they are more than 40 degrees angle off nose, then you will need to do something else. So what else can you do? Usually you will already be misaligned, so further offsetting your post isn't going to help. Instead, you will need to win the rate war, and this necessarily is going to require energy and room to turn the aircraft. You can use gravity to transiently increase rate by trading height for turn potential and simultaneously take turning room below the bandit in a maneuver known as a low yo-yo. To execute a low yo-yo, check your height, roll your lift vector below the bandit and pull to maintain best rate speed. The descent will allow increased G and therefore greater rate. Once you've got the angles you want, you'll be slightly out of plane, so go pure by placing your lift vector on the bandit and maintaining best rate while you work your way back up to bandit plane of maneuver. Only take as much lead as you need. A good sight picture to aim for is similar to the rear edge of fighting wing or tack wing. As with BFM generally, it pays not to be too greedy. Committing too nose low might run your speed up out of the rate band, wasting the maneuver, and it could also lead to a nose low counter by the bandit or even generate too much lead, a reversal opportunity or even an overshoot. Two small low yo-yos are better than one big one. I've already discussed overshoots way back in the BFM Fundamentals video. Flight path overshoots are sometimes unavoidable, such as when misaligning turn circles, and can be benign at low angle off nose, but should otherwise be avoided. A 3 to 9 line overshoot should be avoided at all costs. Cause. Overshoots are typically caused by too much closure at high aspect while unable to turn inside the bandit. In short, having too much lead or too much speed. Recognition. If you're trying to outrate the bandit and are inside their bubble, then you are likely to have a flight path overshoot. If aspect is reducing faster than angle off nose, then you will likely also violate the bandit's 6 o'clock, and any situation involving low nose-tail separation and high closure rates has the potential to be turned into a 3 to 9 line overshoot. Resolution. It is vital to be able to recognize an overshoot before it takes place, as unlike becoming trapped in lag, the resolution must come prior to the overshoot itself. The first thing to do is move to lag pursuit, and the earlier you do this, the better if there is an overshoot risk. However, it's still entirely possible to overshoot while in lag, and usually moving to lag will only reduce the severity of the overshoot and won't prevent it. The only way to prevent a developing overshoot is to alter your flight path such that it doesn't cross that of the bandit, and in order to do this, you will need to rapidly reduce your downrange travel by maneuvering out of plane. Doing this up into the vertical serves two purposes. It rotates your direction of travel away from the overshoot vector, and it converts speed to height, further slowing your progress but retaining your energy, which you can convert back into speed once you've aligned your vector in a suitable direction. This process is known as a high yo-yo. To execute a high yo-yo, roll to place your lift vector well above the bandit and maintain the pull to zoom climb your aircraft. The later you leave this, the more aggressive you'll need to be, and this has its own downsides, as I will come on to in a minute. Once you've got your vector and relative speed under control, place your lift vector back on the bandit and use gravity assist to accelerate and increase your rate back into the control zone. Preventing an overshoot late will result in an aggressive zoom, and you will need to follow your high yo-yo with a low yo-yo to correct. This is not only inefficient, but also increases time to kill. However, it is still better than an overshoot. The other issue with an overly aggressive high yo-yo is that it might invite a nose-high counter from the bandit, which will present further BFM problems. Solving offensive BFM problems has its roots in basic geometry and physics, but in application, in the dynamic BFM environment, it can often appear anything but simple. The only thing that will help you recognize these situations and resolve them is practice, and not with an AI opponent, with another human being, and this time not a compliant target, but one that is actively giving you problems to solve in a way that the bandit would, but tailored for your learning outcomes. This itself requires two virtual pilots, both with a good knowledge of the fundamentals, however, so I would caution against practicing the specifics against a novice. You will likely both find it frustrating, and that is not a good training environment. At the end of the day, solving offensive BFM problems is just the technical application of the tenets that I talked about at the start of this segment. If you can retain the upper hand, you will inevitably be able to drive the bandit to a lower energy state than you, and this is what I'm going to talk about in the penultimate video in this series, bringing it all together next time. Thank you very much for watching. If you found this video useful, please go on and watch the rest of the series. If you found it useful enough that you want to come back and see more when I release more, then please subscribe. Head over to the DCS Air Warfare group and check their YouTube channel out. They have some excellent videos in their own right. And consider going to the Tactical DCS Discord. That's where I spend most of my time when I'm online talking about DCS. And there are lots of people there who've got a lot more knowledge about various topics in DCS than I have. Again, thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe if you feel I've earned it. And I'll see you next time to talk about bringing offensive BFM together.